everybody, it's Sam from the Fret Wire. Today we're going to talk about wiring up this ST style double cut electric guitar kit. These kits are great for a first time build. You can spend a lot of time on the finish work, but once it comes to the assembly, it goes together pretty quickly. Today we're going to talk about the wiring part of that. These guitars come largely pre-wired, as you can see, with all the pickups, switches, and pots already in place. There's just 3 loose wires that we need to connect. We're going to walk through how to do that now. If you look at the back of the volume pot, you'll see that 2 of the wires, these black ones, come off the back of the volume pot, and this yellow wire comes from the center leg of the volume pot. One note, factories aren't consistent with the wire colors they use, so pay more attention to where the wires come from rather than the color that they happen to be. In this case, they're black and yellow, but they may not always be that color. We'll start by putting the bridge ground in place. So we're going to take one of these ground wires, either one of the black ones, doesn't matter which, and we're going to fish it through the body so it can exit at the back of the guitar. Right here we have an access hole that will come out into the bridge cavity. So we'll run that wire through now. So now looking at the back of the guitar, we see where this black ground wire came out. We just need to attach this to the bridge claw. That's what this little cutout here is for. We can either slide that under and clamp that down, or even drop a bit of solder on to keep that secure. And then as you go on building the guitar, of course your bridge springs will be right here and you'll cover it up with your control plate cavity. But that's all it takes to do the bridge ground on this guitar. The other 2 wires on this guitar are for the output jack. There's also a little access hole between the control cavity and the output cavity. We're going to fish those wires through there. With those wires in place, now we can solder them to the output jack. One note about soldering, we don't go into a lot of detail on soldering in this video. There's a lot of good videos on YouTube that will walk through soldering techniques. I will say, don't be too intimidated. It's not as hard as it might seem, especially on a solder job like this. Any soldering iron will work, even your cheap $10 soldering iron will get the job done just fine. So it's a great chance to try it out without being too intimidated. You'll get it. It'll be great. So the 2 wires for the output jack, this wire that comes from the second leg of the volume pot is going to be our hot, and the black is the ground. If we look at the output jack, there's 2 terminals on the output jack. The terminal that is directly opposite of this contact point that makes contact with the tip of your output of your guitar cable, this is your hot. The other one is your ground. It makes contact with the side of the guitar cable. We're going to solder those in place and come back. Okay, we've got those 2 wires soldered in place, and now we can mount the output jack. One note, if when you put the output jack in, if it's not fitting right into the pocket, we can adjust these 2 nuts on the output jack to bring this forward so it'll fit a little bit nicer. In fact, I'm going to do that right now because that's exactly the problem we have on this kit. So now I've taken the top nut off this plate, so now we can remove the nut. If we adjust this nut down, tightening it, and then put the plate and the nut back in place, that'll give us a little more room in the back of the pocket for this jack to fit. Okay, I've got that back together, and you see now that the threaded part of the jack sticks out a little bit further, but now we've got no problems with that fitting in place right where it needs to go. At that point, your guitar is ready to assemble the rest of the way. You can attach the neck if it's not already attached, the bridge, secure the pickguard and the output jack plate, and string it up, and you're ready to go.